Now that we finally know what happened between Joel and Eugene in The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 6, it's no wonder why Gail was so furious with Joel. The show gives us a powerful and emotional flashback that helps explain why Eugene died, why Joel made the decision he did, and why Gail has held onto so much anger. While Eugene had only been talked about briefly in earlier episodes, this one reveals everything and it's heavy. Joe Pantoliano joins the cast as Eugene, and in just one episode, his story becomes a heartbreaking turning point for Joel and Ellie's already strained relationship. Plus, it helps us understand Gail's pain and mistrust of Joel a lot more deeply. In this flashback, we finally see Eugene alive. He's not just Gail's husband anymore, he's a real, living character, and that makes what happens to him even more emotional. The episode takes us back to a time when Joel finally gives in to Ellie's wish to go on patrol with him. Ellie had been wanting to join for a while, and now that she's 19, Joel agrees. They set off on a patrol together, something that should have been a bonding moment between them. But things take a sharp and tragic turn when they come across Eugene and his partner, Adam, who had run into trouble with the infected. They find Adam's lifeless body being dragged by a horse, which is already a grim sign. Then they find Eugene, who has a bite on his side. That bite is serious, but Eugene is still stable for now. He's not turning into one of the infected just yet, and he's still mentally aware. Naturally, his biggest wish is to return to Jackson to say goodbye to his wife, Gail. Ellie and Joel debate the situation, and Ellie makes a strong case for giving Eugene a chance to go back home. Joel hesitantly agrees, or at least he says he does. But then comes the twist. Joel sends Ellie ahead, saying he'll catch up with Eugene. But instead of honoring their plan, he leads Eugene to a beautiful overlook. There, Eugene pleads with Joel to let him see Gail one more time. Joel doesn't give in. Instead, he quietly responds that if you love someone, you can always see their face, and then he kills Eugene with a bullet. It's a cold but calculated decision. Joel knows there's no way Eugene will survive, and he believes putting him out of his misery is the merciful thing to do. But the emotional damage from that decision runs deep. Ellie eventually returns and realizes what Joel has done. She's heartbroken, angry, and hurt. This isn't just about Eugene anymore, it's about the larger trust issues that have been building between her and Joel for a while. Joel had already lied to Ellie in the past, especially about what happened in Salt Lake City. Now the Eugene situation just adds fuel to that fire. Joel breaks yet another promise, and Ellie is forced to carry the emotional weight of a decision she didn't agree with. But Joel doesn't stop there, he also lies to Gail. When they bring Eugene's body back to Jackson, Joel tells Gail that Eugene took his own life after realizing he was bitten. He even goes as far as to make up Eugene's last words to bring her comfort. At first, Gail believes him. But later on, Ellie tells her the truth. Joel lied. And that's when everything makes sense. Gail's icy behavior toward Joel in their therapy sessions, her refusal to forgive, and her overwhelming grief, it all comes from knowing the truth about how her husband died and how Joel lied to her face about it. One of the most intense moments in the episode is when Gail slaps Joel after learning the truth. It's a raw emotional release, and it's completely justified. Gail had every reason to be upset. Not only did Joel take her husband's last moments away from her, but he also robbed Eugene of the chance to say goodbye. Even if Joel thought he was doing the right thing, the way he handled it was wrong in Gail's eyes. And really, who can blame her? Despite all this, Gail continues to work as the town therapist in Jackson. That says a lot about her strength, but it doesn't mean she has moved on. In fact, when she talks to Ellie later on after Joel's own death, it becomes clear that she's still holding onto the pain. Gail and Joel had a complicated dynamic during their sessions. She was supposed to help him work through his trauma and grief, but how could she fully do that when she never got closure for her own loss, especially when it was caused by him? The interesting thing is, Joel didn't really have a choice when it came to Eugene's fate. He was bitten. There was no cure, no magic solution. Unless Eugene was immune like Ellie, which he wasn't, he was going to die. Someone would have had to kill him eventually. Joel just made the decision quicker. From a survival standpoint, Joel did what needed to be done. He made sure Eugene wouldn't turn into a monster and attack others, maybe even Ellie. He removed the threat before it could grow. But the issue isn't whether Joel should have killed Eugene, it's how he did it. He promised Ellie they'd take Eugene back. He gave Eugene hope that he'd see his wife again. He then lied to everyone, thinking he could shield them from pain. But in the end, the truth came out, and the pain was even worse. Joel's choices caught up with him, and this time, the consequences were personal. Gail's heartbreak wasn't just about losing Eugene. It was about being denied the chance to say goodbye. It was about being lied to. It was about Joel thinking he could control everyone's emotions by manipulating the truth. And as strong as Gail is, that kind of betrayal cuts deep. By showing this part of Joel's past, The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 6 adds even more complexity to his character. Joel has always been someone who makes hard decisions, sometimes brutal ones, for what he believes is the greater good. But those decisions leave scars on others, and Eugene's story is one of the most painful examples. It also shows how deeply Ellie's trust in Joel has been broken, and how she's slowly beginning to see the flaws in the man she once looked up to like a father. In the end, Joel's decision to kill Eugene wasn't purely right or wrong, it was both. It was a tragic, complicated choice made in a moment of fear and love. But his lies afterward? Those had a lasting impact that changed everything for Gail, for Ellie, and eventually for himself. That's what makes this flashback so powerful. It doesn't just explain why Eugene died. It explains why Gail was angry, why Ellie lost trust, and why Joel's past decisions keep coming back to haunt him, even after he's gone.